The Berlin Agreement was at last finalized. After 7 exhausting sessions of talks, I'd locked in the continental growth my supervisor had pursued for 3 seasons. My muscles throbbed from the 10-hour journey, yet victory surged within me as I navigated my leased vehicle toward my folks' residential neighborhood. My luggage remained in the back. I'd assured Mother I'd visit prior to reaching my condo, aware she'd desire details on my journey and likely insist on serving me a fresh-baked treat. The descending sunlight bathed the known area in golden tones as I veered onto Oak Avenue. I eased into the entryway, observing Father had at last pruned the wild shrubs bordering the storage area. Minor successes. My dark heels squeezed as I emerged, adjusting my gray tailored dress. The trip had creased my satin top, but I appeared fully the lead economic specialist who just clinched a profession-defining pact. I grinned, retrieving the storage opener from my bag. I'd kept my Mustang there during my absence, more secure than curbside spots at my housing unit. The usual snap when I activated it, the motorized hum as the panel rose. Then only vacant area where my vehicle ought to stand. No, impossible. The phrases escaped as my gut sank. The space extended ahead, empty save for Father's grass cutter and Mother's planting tools. My digits grew cold. The opener fell onto the pavement as I abandoned my bag and hurried to the residence. This wasn't real. Not my automobile. Not my Mustang. I stormed through the lateral entrance into the cooking space. They awaited me, Mother, Father, and my sibling Sophia positioned around the pine counter as if arranging a confrontation. The quiet struck initially, followed by the remorse emanating from them all. Father avoided my gaze. He focused on his rough palms laid out on the surface. Elena, dear. Mother's tone held that sweet note she employed for delivering harsh truths. Stay calm. Where's my automobile? The question rasped in my neck. Sophia squared her posture. Assurance fixed on her expression like one of her beauty guides. It's only short-term, Elle. I'll repay every bit. Repay what exactly? My tone fell ominously quiet. Where is my Mustang? Mother looked at Father, who continued staring down. We faced a hard choice, darling. Sophia required seed money for her venture, and we brought it to Riverside Loans. Father eventually uttered, his speech gravelly. Received $50,000 for it. The space spun diagonally. You did what to my automobile? It's a borrow using the vehicle, not an outright trade. Sophia interjected. When my beauty brand debuts, I'll return it plus extra. You'll regain your ride soon enough. My thoughts raced to the countless evenings I devoted bent over reports at Sterling Investments. 80-hour stretches for 7 years without break. Declining trips, a nicer home, all luxuries as I accumulated funds. I recalled grandfather's aged fingers directing mine across the motor of his buddy's Mustang at age 10. These contraptions aren't mere transport, Elena child. Their aspirations turned tangible. His gaze had wrinkled with total conviction. One day you'll possess your own gem. Simply wait patiently. The afternoon I'd at last guided my Mustang to my place, moisture had flowed along my cheeks. Not solely for the shiny ebony finish or the engine's thunder, but for its symbolism. Evidence that my concessions held value. My beauty enterprise is groundbreaking, Sophia continued, tossing her locks back. I've created a mixture that it doesn't matter if you've invented eternal beauty in a jar. My words sliced her presentation. That vehicle wasn't yours to claim. Mother's mouth tightened. Come now, Elena, kin supports kin. You earn ample at your position. Sophia deserves this opportunity to thrive. So you grabbed my extra opener and my document? The disloyalty dug further with every insight. You performed deceit. Father winced. We're your guardians, Mother rebutted. We've consistently backed both our daughters fairly. A sour chuckle slipped out. Fairly? Is that your term for this? My device vibrated in my pouch. I extracted it reflexively, checking the alert. My coverage provider notifying me of a claim filed on my ride. Chills supplanted the rage in my blood. This extended beyond funds. This wasn't solely about my prized vehicle. This concerned dignity, a quality my kin had never afforded me. You get 1 month, I declared, my speech firmer than my insides. 1 month to retrieve my vehicle, or I'll file complaints for deceit and robbery. Complaints. Mother inhaled sharply. Toward your kin? Kin don't pilfer from one another. I pivoted to the exit. 1 month. Their stunned looks trailed me as I departed, closing the portal with sufficient strength to shake the kin portraits on the partition. Portraits that abruptly appeared fabricated, joyful visages, concealing the reality that in this kin, my aspirations had perpetually been deemed expendable. The lone office stinks of hopelessness and budget scent. I adjust my jacket, attempting to seem like a lady who fits here instead of one whose existence is crumbling. My image in a grimy showcase reveals eyeliner streaks I overlooked removing today. Miss Rivera, the lender Marcus, per his badge, pushes forms over the surface. His speech bears the rehearsed impartiality of a person who observes monetary disasters routinely. Your ride was delivered 6 days prior. Borrow some $50,000, including our typical charges. I review the papers, my economic expertise engaging instinctively. $4,000 in charges. That's almost exploitative. 6. Marcus's demeanor stays neutral. Vintage auto sector's unstable. We assume hazards. And if the borrow goes unpaid, following 40 days, we sell the ride publicly. He points to a section of small text. Complete settlement due by November 5th. $54,000 overall. My belly churns as I turn the sheet. There it sits, my mark, but it isn't authentic. The imitation is near enough to trick the loan office, yet lacks the minor slant I consistently add on the last R. This isn't my mark. Marcus's look alters subtly. Lady, if you're implying deceit, I'm not implying, I'm affirming. I produce my identification card, then a fresh employment pact. Examine them side by side. He inspects the marks. Unease becoming evident. I'll have to consult my superior on this. Please proceed. And meanwhile, retrieve the monitoring video from that deal's occurrence. My speech appears steadier than my state. I was in Berlin, Germany. 25 minutes and one superior afterward, the truth solidifies like stone in my torso. My guardians executed real deceit. Felony deceit, the type that lands folks in prison. We could submit a law enforcement statement immediately, the superior suggests. The term law enforcement constricts my airway. I require moments to reflect. Return to my condo, I slump onto the sofa, coat still on. On the low table rests a kin image collection I haven't viewed in ages. I draw it to my knees, digits quivering mildly as I leaf through protected recollections. There's Sophia's charming 17th, an outdoor gathering with 50 attendees, a hired lensman, and a dessert higher than her stature. I shift the leaf to discover zilch from my 17th celebration, since I'd held a side gig at the plaza, hoarding for university submissions. I advance further. Sophia's secondary school completion, where father leased a luxury sedan. My university completion event, vacant seats where my guardians ought to have sat. Their travel oddly postponed amid fine conditions. They'd attended Sophia's performance showcase the following morning. Holiday 2019 gazes at me. Sophia positioned next to a blue sedan with a massive ribbon, while I grasp a retail cardigan to my front, grinning that strained grin that fails to touch my gaze. The trend spans eras, across achievements, across visions. Not merely faint preference, but ongoing concessions. My concessions to boost Sophia. My device chimes, jolting me. Uncle Victor's identifier illuminates the display. I recently learned, he states, bypassing greeting. Your mother phoned, attempting to frame it their manner. And what manner is that? I inquire, abruptly weary. That you're exaggerating. That kin aids kin. His repulsed huff transmits via the line. This isn't proper and you're aware. I am aware. Moisture menaces once more. I simply didn't believe they'd push this extreme. What will you pursue? I'm uncertain still. Following our disconnect, Aunt Margaret rings father's sibling, eternally the mediator. They merely aim to assist Sophia prosper. She implores. Thomas regrets deeply. Can't you discover some empathy? The entry chime rescues me from replying. It's Olivia from the office, carrying a sack from our preferred Asian eatery. I fetched supper, she announces, noting my swollen eyelids. You appear dreadful. I chuckle for the initial instance in days. Appreciate the candor. Amid zesty rice, I reveal all. Her indignation acts like a salve, an individual at last perceiving the circumstance plainly. You're aware this is unlawful, correct? She questions, topping my beverage. They swiped your ride. I realize, if somebody else performed this. But it wasn't somebody else. I place my utensil aside. It was my kin. That renders it graver, not milder. Olivia's tone gentles. What does your supervisor state? That kin can wound more profoundly than outsiders. I'd collapsed in his workspace earlier, an act I'd avoided for 7 years at Sterling. He's granting me room to manage it. The following day, I message Sophia. Beverage, midday, the spot close to your condo, solely us. She's present upon my entry, donning shades amid the overcast sky. Her lively assurance from the cooking clash has vanished. Allow me to review the enterprise outline, I state, settling in. Pardon, the enterprise outline. Revenue forecasts, promotion tactics. You understand the materials any valid new venture would possess prior to pursuing funding. She toys with her mug. It's rather flexible. Artistic fields. Halt. I raise my palm. Display what you've prepared. Genuine materials. What she extracts from her sack is a vision collage of cosmetic styles, a roster of possible item titles, and rough drawings of containers. No vendor agreements. No recipe details. No monetary projections. This is all. My tone sinks alarmingly quiet. This is why you claimed my vehicle. It unfolds currently. I merely sought an opportunity to demonstrate my worth like you. Her bottom lip quivers. Folks perpetually discuss how accomplished you are, how dependable, how I ought to emulate you more. I gained my opportunity, I declare, every term intentional. I didn't claim another's vision. Her frame sags. I believed once the venture soared, I could reimburse you with bonuses, render all pleased. And presently, the initial delivery came yesterday. She lifts her shades, exposing swollen lids. A portion of the vessels were damaged. Buyers are grumbling digitally already. The mixture divides after several hours. Her speech breaks. All is collapsing. My device alerts with a message. From Sophia. I glance at her, puzzled, then at my device. I require additional funds to mend this. Merely a bit more. Kindly, Alina, I'm frantic. She's observing me peruse it, her look beseeching. I position my device screen down on the counter. Not another cent, I declare. You resolve this or we all suffer. Her expression collapses. I lack the knowledge. For a perilous instant, I sense the familiar tug, the kin presumption that I'll rectify the chaos, solve the issue, remain the dependable one. Then I recollect my barren storage and the imitated mark. You'd best determine it swiftly, I state, rising. Time is running out. 10 days following the storage disclosure, Sophia's venture rests in debris. I monitor her downfall while striving to concentrate on my profession, observing each catastrophic notification arrive on my device methodically. Day 4, providers declining more deliveries post failed transactions. Day 6, reimbursement requests overwhelming her online profiles. Day 8, venture profile locked by the institution. Day 11, Sophia isolated in her condo, disregarding all contacts. I gaze at my monitor in my workspace at Sterling Investments, the Berlin procurement files fuzzing in my vision. The pact I'd invested 7 months coordinating now dangles precariously since I can't concentrate. My thoughts persistently return to the void in the storage where my Mustang belongs. My workstation line sounds. It's my supervisor, Manager Hayes. Alina, I require those ultimate estimates by 5. His speech conveys that hint of worry that's increased during the recent days. You seem drained. All well domestically. I compel a business-like cheer into my speech. All is good. You'll receive those estimates shortly. The falsehood stings. Nothing is good. My kin deceived me. My siblings' venture is exploding, and my profession could trail if I can't separate more effectively. When the weekend comes, I position my leased vehicle at the roadside beyond my folks' residence rather than the entryway. A tiny defiance, yet it seems essential. The known aroma of stew mother's reconciliation gesture drifts from the cooking area as I step in. Father rests at the counter, frame bowed beneath an unseen burden. Mother busies with the porcelain dishes, the fine set saved for festivals and emergencies. Sophia shows up delayed, her stylish eyewear concealing swollen lids, her bold step substituted by something gentler, tinier. Consume while warm. Mother announces, plating father initially as customary. We rest in quiet interrupted solely by the scratch of utensils on dishes. I slice my protein into exact cubes, concentrating on the force of blade on plate to prevent outburst. Mother yields first. Sophia's encountering challenges with her venture. She taps Sophia's palm. All stumble occasionally. I lay my utensil. This isn't regarding stumbling, it's regarding swiping. We assumed we were assisting. Father murmurs softly, the initial phrases he's voiced since my entry. His aged palms quiver mildly as he grasps his liquid container. We desired Sophia to gain her shot. At my cost, the phrases emerge harsher than planned, cutting the facade. You didn't merely claim a vehicle. You claimed all it signified. Sophia recoils. Darling, it's merely a machine. Mother starts. It was 7 years of extra shifts and foregone breaks. It was grandfather's heritage. It was the single item I owned that confirmed my concessions had purpose. My speech stays firm while something fierce and injured rages within my core. And you claimed it without hesitation. The entry chime sounds. Relief washes Mother's expression at the disruption until Father reappears with Uncle Victor following. My father's senior sibling occupies the threshold with his wide frame and signature frown. What on earth were you considering, Thomas? Victor insists without introduction. His gaze locates mine through the chamber. Alina contacted me. Mother's back rigidifies. This is kin business, Victor, precisely my presence. He draws the seat next to me. An individual must advocate for the kin member you're sacrificing. Father's cheeks flush. Hold on a second. No, you hold. I grasp my portfolio beside the seat. The material cools my tips as I remove the dossier I assembled yesterday. We must discuss forthcoming steps. I set 3 copies on the counter. Ride document, deceit laws, loan office rules, and penalty directives. The sheets drop with the force of explosives. This is a serious crime. I point the initial paper. I could dispatch you both to confinement. Mother, anyway. Mother's complexion pales. You couldn't, I prefer not to. The honesty shocks me. Regardless of all, I don't wish to ruin them, but you must comprehend your actions. Father examines the sheets, truly perceiving them. Incarceration. 3 to 6 years for document deceit. I maintain my speech factual removed, plus compensation. Mother dissolves into weeping, not the controlling sort she deploys to conclude disputes, but raw, harsh cries that convulse her frame. Father extends for her palm, his gaze shimmering. What have we inflicted on you? On us. For the initial occasion since this ordeal started, I detect authentic regret in his expression. Not merely sorrow for exposure, but genuine grasp of the harm caused. Sophia removes her eyewear, showing crimson-bordered lids. This is my responsibility. Her speech falters. I urge them onward. I realized you'd never consent. So I persuaded them it was brief, that you'd comprehend when my venture succeeded. She gazes at her polished digits. I never anticipated such rapid failure. Uncle Victor inclines ahead. So what's the strategy? Since that loan office won't delay indefinitely. 28 days, I verify. Then they vend the vehicle. Mother wipes her lids. What options exist? I extract a computation device. We must evaluate our assets. For the subsequent 60 minutes, we examine possibilities. Father believes they can secure a residence credit line for $35,000, but it requires 3 weeks to finalize. Sophia consents to trade her Audi and drain her reserves, which could produce another $15,000. I hesitantly pledge $7,000 from my contingency reserve. Uncle Victor observes this tally with squinted gaze. I can advance $6,000, he eventually states, but solely since Alina shouldn't cover this disorder. The arithmetic is harsh. Even combining all, we're facing 18 days prior to assembling the total sum. And the loan office demands a prompt installment of $18,000 to stop the vending procedure. I'll contact tomorrow dawn. Father declares, his speech more solid now. Check if they'll adjust the schedule. Upon departing, the pressure on my torso hasn't eased, but an alteration occurred. The disloyalty persists, But now a route exists demanding, unclear, but apparent. Return to my condo. I perch on the mattress edge, a mounted image in my grasp. My grandfather poses beside a shining ebony Mustang, his limb encircling 13-year-old me. The seasonal glow reflects on the metal edge and in his joyful gaze. Vehicles are merely alloy and shine, Alina child, he informed me formerly. It's their symbolism that counts. In the quiet of my condo, I at last grasp his intent. This struggle isn't solely about recovering my vehicle. It's about requiring the dignity I've merited. It's about instructing my kin that my visions hold equal weight to Sophia's. I lift my device and call my folks' line. Father responds immediately. I'll assist, I inform him, my speech firm, but circumstances won't revert. The quiet extends among us, brimming with all we can't reverse. I understand, he eventually states. We'll correct this, Alina. I vow, I conclude the connection without farewell. Certain vows arrive overdue for solace, but I'll accept deeds over phrases anytime. Tomorrow, we commence the battle to restore what's mine, not merely a vehicle, but my role in this kin. Sophia gazes at her image in the store's reflective surface, touching the fine fabric of her cherished luxury wrap. Her assortment, once her boast, now arranged over the desk for evaluation. The store proprietor examines each article via slim lenses, her mouth tightened in assessment. I can provide $9,000 for the group, she declares, not glancing up. Sophia gulps deeply. These articles cost her above $18,000, but the loan office's limit overshadows her ego. Agreed, she murmurs, observing as the lady drafts the payment. Elsewhere in the city, Father trudges into the storage supervisor's workspace, joint pain igniting in his legs. Evening hours. The supervisor lifts his brows. Thomas, you haven't handled evenings in 25 years. Father drops into the seat opposite, just briefly. Require the premium wage. The supervisor notes the darkness beneath Father's lids. This regarding that vehicle issue your sibling referenced. Father affirms once, mouth firm, kin affairs. Commencing Tuesday, then, he pushes the forms over. Trust it's valuable. Domestically, mother encases grandmother's metallic holders in soft wrap, palms shaking. These articles endured the recession, observed 55 years of kin events. She arranges them gently in a container with the gem chain Father presented on their 30th milestone. The lender at Harrison's scarcely views the objects before proposing $4,000 to handle next period's accrual. My personal concessions arrive as forfeited rest and omitted nourishment. The Berlin growth requires ongoing focus, but I'm accepting additional profiles, striving for the achievement reward that abruptly signifies the gap between salvation and collapse. The installment proof from Riverside Pawn rests on my workstation, evidence that our starting $18, zero delayed the vending. A tiny triumph, emptied by the institution's recent notice, credit approval postponed awaiting asset review. They're achieving real advancement, Olivia states over delivery in my compartment. Your sibling contacted me. I glance from calculations, astonished. She contacted you? Sought if the economic firm was recruiting for beginner roles. Olivia swirls grains around her tool. I was stunned. Subsequently that period, I noticed Sophia through the dining area, hardly identifiable in basic dark trousers and a pale formal shirt. No luxury brands, no bold accessories. She adjusts her stance anxiously beyond the shop's staff portal, her debut shift. When my device sounds that evening, her speech appears tinier than ever. I had no notion of her phrase's snag. 9 hours standing, grinning at folks who regard me as decor, and you've managed 80-hour periods for ages. I rest against my cooking ledge, uncertain of response. All those occasions I labeled you dull for skipping outings, she proceeds. You weren't dull. You were accountable. 4 days afterward, we convene at the beverage spot midway between our condos. Sophia requests basic brew rather than her typical elaborate mix. Her cosmetics are understated, her fingertips brief and plain. I was privileged and self-centered, she declares outright. I'm truly regretful, Alina. Not merely for the vehicle. For all, I encircle my hands around my container, sensing the heat penetrate my skin. Fine statements, soft, I realize. She affirms. Lids firm. Deeds resonate stronger. I'm attempting to demonstrate now. At my folks' residence, Father arranges institution records over the cooking counter, the stark ceiling glow highlighting every crease on his visage. He narrows at numbers that resist alignment, summing rows for the sixth occasion. Thomas. Mother summons from the office. Were you aware of these? She grasps a bundle of borrow requests, all in Sophia's elegant writing. Charge accounts. Individual borrows. 4 varied deferred payment profiles. Almost $90,000, Mother murmurs. We lacked knowledge. The subsequent dawn, they position opposite Mr. Summers at the Savings Association, the monetary consultant they've relied on for 25 years. This credit will postpone your departure from work by minimum 6 years, he clarifies kindly. And that's presuming no further monetary shocks. Mother examines her palms, union band slack on her slimmer digit. When I visit to deliver my share of this period's settlement, Father greets me on the veranda stairs. For once, Mother isn't lingering close with justifications. We disappointed you, he declares, speech coarse with feeling, far prior to claiming your vehicle. I settle next to him, the aged timber groaning below us. Through those eras, we commended Sophia's visions while ignoring yours. His tough palms interlock. You seldom requested much, so we never considered you required much. The weekend twilight horizon glows amber as we rest quietly. Then the credit at last processes, but with a 4-day handling span. Ease shifts to alarm when Riverside Pawn contacts. Another purchaser shows interest in the Mustang, proposing immediate funds. We simply need 3 additional days. Father begs via the line. Commerce is commerce, the lender responds. Initial funds present secures the vehicle. The following 48 hours merge into urgent computations and urgent contacts. Sophia clears her reserves. Mother trades her milestone gem studs. I exhaust my contingency borrowing limit. Yet $4,000 deficient. It's insufficient, Mother declares, tone empty as we assemble around the cooking counter. The limit is tomorrow midday. The entry chime sounds, and Uncle Victor appears on the veranda, payment ledger in grasp. Kin aids kin, he declares, mirroring Mother's phrases from periods past, but with wholly distinct implication. The subsequent dawn, we all squeeze into the institution, observing the electronic timer advance toward midday as the overseer handles the electronic shift. Father's palm quivers as he authorizes the permission. At 11:58, the verification displays. Funds accepted. For the initial occasion in periods, we inhale. The dawn glow reflects on the M.